Hey, what's up, people? Welcome back to another stream. Hope everyone is doing well. As always, guys, if you're enjoying the content, please be sure to drop a like and subscribe to the channel. It does really help out. And of course, make sure you do go and hit the subscribe button, subscribe to the channel so you can see more of the content. Hit the bell so you don't miss out on any streams or uploads that do go live. And of course, check out the Discord channel to Elevating Traders. Completely free to join. Links in the description below. You can chat with other traders, chat with myself, share ideas there. So if you are looking to join a community, go check it out. It's completely free to join. But guys, welcome back to another stream. What's up, Demar? Welcome to the stream. Hectic trading week. Yeah, a lot of news. We had the Fed yesterday. We had Swiss this morning, and we got pound in I think a couple of hours. Pretty sure it comes out at 12. Let me just double check. What's up, Malik? Welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. Yeah, 12. So just under a couple of hours, we got pound interest rates as well. So it's been a hectic one. Tashi, good morning. Hope you're well. Nash, good morning. Hope you're well. Welcome to the stream. So as always, guys, I'll go through the USD side of things first. Take a look at the dollar, USD majors, gold and silver. Of course, if you have any requests, any pairs you want me to take a look at, drop it in the chat, and of course we would discuss. And of course, any particular timeframes, let me know. But we'll start with the dollar, which didn't see that much momentum. We were a little bit bullish, but it's not like price exploded after the Fed interest rate. We did see a bit of upside momentum, but it's almost like it didn't happen, really. We were talking about this area here a lot coming into the week. I said this is a very interesting level because if price does hold this, we could probably just push back to lows and just continue that kind of overall bearish trend we have for the dollar. I haven't really been interested in shorting the dollar for a couple of reasons. The market has been bearish since the start of the year, so we have been quite overstretched. The market's quite oversold at the moment. And the last bearish leg we saw was very corrective. It's not like the previous bearish leg like this one, which had a lot of momentum to it. This one was very corrective and really lacked momentum and basically just failed at the lows, really. We didn't really have a sustained push below them. A lot of wicks collected there. So not only was price corrective, didn't really see much power in breaking through the lows. Not that we can't potentially go and do that now, of course we can, but it's just not something I would be keen to sell. Market's quite oversold. We're running out of momentum. Not really something you want to be looking to sell as a swing trade. Of course, day trading, you can get away with it. Hold a trade for the day, be in and out of the market. If you're looking to hold a trade for a few days or maybe even a week or two, not the best place to position yourself if you're looking to short this one. You want to see a much bigger pullback, then potentially some shorts later on. I'm actually quite interested in long still with the dollar if we can break past the highs here. I still want to see a bit more momentum. We had a nice push initially here, looking a little bit slow now. Potentially might see price come back to retest, but if we can break the highs here with some strength, then that will give me the confidence to go and potentially long the USD, maybe short pound USD or short Aussie dollar. We'll speak on the other USD pairs in a moment, but there is definitely upside here for USD CAD if we do take out the highs. So that's really what I'm waiting for as someone looking to buy. At the moment, we're coming back into an area of supply. Might see a push back down. We did break and retest this zone here yesterday. Solid support, resistance. We broke above that, used that as support again. Had a bit of a rally from that. So if we do push down, I think this could be a nice place for a buy in the lower time frames if we can respect it again and see some upside from then onwards. So yeah, USD, I do think more upside is likely for this one. So I'm getting kind of ready, geared up for that. Not quite any entries just yet, but I am looking for price to push through and then hopefully some longs shortly afterwards. Taking a look at Euro USD, this one still is just about hanging on to support right now. We've got resistance here, which of course is acting as support. It's been slowing down the market quite well. Again, Euro USD is kind of a similar case to the DXY in terms of we've been bullish for a while. Price has been trending since pretty much the start of the year, pretty aggressively too. So it's been a pretty nice trend to the upside for Euro. But as of late, we've slowed down. Just about took out the highs, but didn't really sustain it. And you can see the last bullish move has been quite corrective, exactly what the dollar has been doing as well. So for those two reasons, not really keen on buying Euro USD either. Again, I do think some sales could come around and could provide some really nice opportunities. I think that's where the bigger move might lie there for Euro. So similar to the dollar, I'm looking for us to take out some of these lows. The market's been very consistent with the higher lows. I'm looking to see if we can go and break through that consistency, and hopefully find a retest somewhere for a lower high and some shorts. So I am interested in Euro USD to the downside. At the moment, it's still just about holding on to support, and there could still be a rally to the upside here. I'm looking at the hourly chart for entry confirmations. I'll say we're still quite flat right now. I did speak about the double bottom there yesterday, but didn't really provide much support. I think if you could see a strong push to the upside, maybe a strong close like that, that might be a nice entry signal on the lower time frames. But yeah, it's still an area of support, still an area where price could potentially push higher. I'm just not personally interested, more keen on the selling opportunities. Pound USD, we did see a bit of a push to the downside for this one this week. I wouldn't say we've quite cleared the lows yet. Looks like we are sort of doing that, but I would say support is still just about holding here. Again, I'm not really interested in taking pound USD to the upside either. Same reasons really as Euro. Price has been trending for a while. We're struggling above the highs here. We're running out momentum. You can see how corrective we've been ever since we did break through the high. And then we've been failing at these highs quite a lot as well. So basically just forming a bit of a consolidation. So I'm actually looking to see if pound can break to the downside and then look for some shorts after that. And that would be the opportunity which I would like to take. Because not only are we back below key resistance, we're also breaking structural, breaking out that consolidation, hopefully with some decent momentum. And I would expect to see a lower higher form in what could look like a bit of a head and shoulder pattern. So going left, head, right shoulder. And that could be a very nice shorting opportunity. So I like pound USD to the downside. The market's quite tired. We've seen some momentum come into the market as well. Just need to see if we can break through the floor here at 1.341. If we can break through that well, see some decent momentum, then the retest does become a very nice opportunity. And that's really what I'll be focusing on for pound USD for the remainder of the week and going into next week as well. So yeah, pound USD, looking for selling opportunities, still just about holding onto support, so not quite there yet. But again, not keen to take the buys. I don't think the market has had a nice pullback, especially when we've had a very corrective move up and an impulse down. Not really characteristics I want to see of a pullback. I want to see an impulse up and a corrective move down. We've literally done the opposite. So not really what I want to see as a buyer. Dollar CAD, nice push to the upside. I am looking for buying opportunities here with dollar CAD. Very nice reaction early in the week. Now I'm just looking for opportunities to find a buy, whether it's going to be an equal low or a higher low is yet to be seen. I was looking to see if we can push to the downside yesterday for a double bottom and then a long. We've continued to the upside. We've come back into this area of resistance here. So possibly I might have to be looking for a bit more of a higher low. We might not come back to revisit this low, although I will definitely keep an eye on that, because if we do, that would be a much better place for an entry. But a higher low is looking a little bit more likely at this point in time. But again, the long situation comes from the higher time frames for dollar CAD. Very much a similar situation to what we just spoke about with euro and pound. Market's been falling for quite a while. We're quite stretched right now. We're becoming quite corrective as well. We've seen a very strong initial reaction there for dollar CAD. So I do think we can see some upside. I'm not saying a reversal necessarily. We might just pull back and then form a lower high later on and then come back down. But in these areas, I'm not really interested in to short the market. More interested in trying to capitalize on those counter trend buys. Then maybe we can look to short it at a later date when we start approaching some of these highs. But in these areas, 1.36, I am looking to buy. Aussie dollar has been looking a little bit bearish. Aussie itself, NZD itself have been looking very bearish, especially NZD. But it's the same old story here with Aussie dollar, just very corrective in nature. So looking to short the market. I've talked about push to the upper end of the channel, which is really where I want to be looking to enter shorts myself. I'm not so concerned about the level here. I can see prices doing a pretty good job, in fairness, to respect resistance here. But we're trading within the middle of this channel, so I don't really want to be operating and finding entries there, especially when there's a lot of equal highs here. And the chance of price running the highs and then pushing down, I would say, is quite high. So this is really where I want to find my entries, back at fresh kind of territory at the upper end of the channel. And it'll give me the best place to position myself for a short in terms of capitalize on a swing back to the low end of the channel and maybe capitalize on a breakout. Now, of course, price may just respect resistance and fall from there. That could be the case. I'm not really willing to find any entries here. It's just too congested. And you can see the dotted middle line there through the channel. That's just not an area which I want to operate in either. So yeah, Aussie dollar, been waiting for a push to the upper end. Will we get it? I have no idea. Maybe not looking so likely right now, but that would be my preferred zone for a sell, especially because we're coming right back into the low of the channel right now anyway. So that's not really where I want to position myself short. But I do think Aussie dollar is likely to break lower. So if we don't get that opportunity, there might be some breakout opportunities or some retest after the breakout. So you might want to consider that for Aussie dollar. But I am looking at a push lower here for this pair. New Zealand dollar, literally the same situation as well. In fact, I think this one's actually made a breakout. So NZD is a little bit more progressed than Aussie dollar. NZD has been quite weak. Strong push to the downside. Prices back below this key level here as well. Maybe not the biggest breakout in the world. We are starting to form some wicks here to the downside, so losing momentum. But the key thing is we're outside this channel, and I do think price can push a lot lower. So I do think NZD likely to push. I'm looking at a push back into the low here at 0.58500. So I'm pretty bearish here for New Zealand dollar. Strong break of the channel. As long as we don't climb back above this zone here, I do think we are likely to experience more downside. Yeah, I would be experiencing more downside. It could be even a big double top prices forming as well with a slight kind of fake out to it. But we've been very, very correct. If you can see how price has been moving, not the signs of a healthy trending market, which is the key reason why I haven't been looking to buy it. A market trending like that is not a market which screams buys. It's a market that screams it's about to run out of steam and could be looking at a bit of a drop pretty soon. And it looks like we've had one. So now they're broken through support. I would like to see price push down a little bit further before looking for a retest. But if we can do that, that would be brilliant. And we can probably look for the retest of the prior low. That could be a nice place to short the market into. And you've got numerous levels to choose from in terms of targets. It doesn't have to be the low all the way down there, but there's multiple targets, multiple levels you can consider. In terms of gold, so gold's been a little bit still looking to buy it, still think there's more upside to be had. Of course, USD being a bit strong maybe is a bit awkward for USD. Of course, they are technically inversely correlated, although sometimes that does go out the window and sometimes they're positively correlated. So I don't tend to trust the DXY too much when it comes to the gold price action. But gold for now is still giving me higher highs and higher lows. I can still see, clear structure there to the upside. We broke out of this channel not too long ago, had a successful retest over there, and we've seen a pretty nice rally to the upside. So it looks like this level's not really acting as resistance or support as I was looking for it to. It looks like it's more so this area which is going to be acting as support. We've got the trend line running through the market there as well, which looks like we kind of already had a test of as well. So what I'm looking for now is still a relatively strong close for gold, just back above all the noise really, as I was describing yesterday. We've got a nice wick to the downside this morning. I quite like that wick as well, to be honest, because we've got a lot of noise here with the consolidation. Potentially that wick could have stopped out some early buyers, maybe dragged in some sellers at the lows here as well. So if I can see a strong shift, I think that'll be a very nice entry signal. Targets back into the swing high and then back into the all-time high at 3,500. So gold is starting to shape up. Possibly a higher low has been printed in with that wick. We'll see if we get that momentum, but yeah, very, very bullish on gold. And for silver, very bullish on this one as well. Looking for a lot more upsides. Again, I've spoken about the retest of this area. Still an area I'm interested in. I also spoke about the retest of this area. And I'm kind of debating. I want the price to push up a little bit further. As I was talking about yesterday, we had a very nice breakout. But I want the price to kind of clear the highs a little bit further, see a bit more momentum. Because as soon as we did clear the highs, we left a big wick. Then this candle kind of filled the wick, and then we just lacked momentum afterwards. So the breakout wasn't as good as it could be. If this candle maybe closed strongly at the highs, maybe I'll be a bit more inclined to find some buys. But it was a very corrected move to the upside, and you can see that a little bit more with the hourly chart. Nice push there, but then we lost momentum afterwards. So yeah, maybe if we see some really solid rejections here, I might look for some entries. If not, I might just wait for a retest of 35. I'll keep an eye out on this zone. I think gold looks a lot better anyway, so I think I'll just focus a bit more on gold. If this doesn't hold, then that 35 zone will look good. But maybe we start to consolidate and maybe we see a nice shift. That could happen. Again, a big part of trading is being reactive, but I mean, I'm still bullish for gold and silver, just not as much as a fan of the pullback there with silver. Gold, I think, still looks really good. I like the wick we just printed on the 4-hour chart. I think there's a lot of upside for that pair. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with the USD pairs. Okay, where was I? Lighton, welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. Cease Integrated, welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. Hayden, I couldn't complete it because the contract I would have to sign with Funding Pips, I won't be able to sign it because of the firm I have with Elevating Traders. So there's a contradiction there, so I wasn't allowed to actually complete the challenge because of my affiliation with another firm. CS Integrated, DXY, yes, we'll take a look. Still holding up 97.7, yeah. Oh, you're still holding a buy, okay. Take profit above 99, okay, we'll have a look at that. Jason, how's gold looking? Still bullish to me, maybe a little bit bearish on the intraday timeframes, but I think due to how corrective it is, it still looks like a buy. So I do think there's still more upside there with gold, but I'm being patient with that. Okay, I have a buy 97.7. Stop loss. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I have a bullish bias in the DXY as well. Bearish for Euro, Pound NZD, and Pound Aussie. Going to put some short trades, 50 minutes. Okay, nice. Lauder, good morning. Welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. Yeah, I'll go through those pairs in a moment. Lauder, Aussie, CHF. This pair is starting to frustrate me. Yeah, we had CHF. We had CHF interest rates, which came out this morning, and CHF did lower rates, but CHF's actually pretty bullish last time I checked. Let me just go take a look at a few CHF pairs just to confirm that. But yeah, Aussie CHF very bearish. Pound CHF pretty bearish. Euro CHF pretty, yeah. So CHF was pretty strong, which again is quite funny because it's not funny. I mean, but yeah, things in trading is not always black and white. You know, interest rates get cut. You expect to see a weak currency. Most of the time you do, but sometimes you don't. There's sometimes underlying situations which cause the market not to be bearish. Maybe something was said afterwards that implies something else later on, and CHF is bullish. So yeah, that's fundamentals for you sometimes. Of course, nothing's 100%. Technicals, fundamentals, whatever. Which is of course why you manage risk and why you don't go, full leverage into a position before interest rates coming out, even if you are correct with what the announcement will be. But yeah, CHF quite strong right now. CHF pairs are looking interesting. We'll definitely go through that. I'm doing good, Hayden. Thank you for asking. Hope everything is well with you, my man. Bog R, what's up? Euro USD 1.152. Okay, I'll start going through some pairs before I lose track. We'll go through the DXY first, take a look at CS Integrated's position. We'll take a look at gold as well. Then we'll go through pound, NZD, pound, Aussie, Aussie, Swiss as well, Euro, USD. Let's see if I can remember that order. So yeah, DXY, I do have somewhat of a bullish bias. I'm not quite ready to be looking to buy it yet, but I do think that's likely where price is heading towards. We've been very corrective on the way down. Price, of course, has more or less failed at these lows. I know we did spike a little bit below, but we didn't really see a sustained breakout there. So to me, it looks like the low is basically just holding. And I do think there is upside for us to have, at least in terms of a pullback. I'm not saying I'm expecting a reversal, but I do think at least a bigger pullback or some type of counter trend move could occur here. And I think that's where the bigger move, as of right now, will be for the dollar. So that's kind of where I want to position myself as more of a swing trader. So I'm looking for buys here for USD. I'm not quite there yet in terms of my confluences being met before I find entries. As I said, I kind of want to see price break the high. And I kind of want to see a bit more momentum come into the market first before I do look to long the pair. But CS Integrated, you said you're long from 97.7, which is down at the lows here. So looking very, very good down there. CS Integrated, and you're looking to target 99.2, which is, okay, more or less the resistance here. Not too far away from that. Price is pretty much coming into take profit more or less now. I mean, it has pulled back a little bit, but it's very, very close to that. And trading stop loss 98.5, which would be around here. So, yeah, I mean, I'm liking that. Very, very nice trade. Very nice move there. Again, I would expect price to go and push the resistance. I'm looking for price to take out those highs. Stop loss trails in a pretty safe place as well. You got a lot of profit there secured. So price was to come back down, worst case scenario, still walk away for profit. So I'm liking the way kind of managing that position as well. So, yeah, I would say looking really good there. CS Integrated. I'm kind of with you on the same page in terms of upside. We'll see what price does at resistance here, because we could come back down as well. We're not guaranteed to break through resistance. But if we do, I feel like there's more upside to be had as well. But very nice move back above support there. Hopefully price can continue and go and hit your targets. But yeah, very, very nice move there, especially very nice entry right at the lows. Okay, so we'll take a look at gold. So yeah, gold's still very bullish. I know gold's been a little bit kind of but in terms of the overall direction, nothing's really changed with gold. We understand that the higher time frames are on a very, very strong uptrend. You know, that hasn't really budged much. So in terms of the higher time frames, the direction for me is pretty clear. In terms of the 4-hour chart, I would say direction is pretty clear as well. We've been bearish for a little bit. Price has since then broken out that channel. And now we've seen consistent higher highs and higher lows. So the plan for gold is very much just looking for another higher low, for a swing at least back to this high, but well and truly back to the all-time highs up there. And I know we've just been messing around here for gold, so it hasn't been great to look at on the lower time frames. I would imagine the 50-minute chart, yeah, has been a little bit all over the shop. But looking at this from a 4-hour perspective, we've just had consolidation and prices try to break through the low, but has essentially failed to pull back and close just back within the range. So to me, this is just price moving sideways, fakes to the low. Possibly now we might see price go break higher. I think a nice entry confirmation would be a nice close above the range if you're looking for the 4-hour chart, of course. Take into consideration your stop loss will be a lot bigger, but you can be a lot more sure that momentum is back in your favor, back in favor of the bulls, and likely to at least push back into resistance. And then we'll go from there. Hopefully we push back to the highs, and hopefully we go a lot further as well. So yeah, gold, I like the buys here. Nice wick to the downside. We just about tapped into the trend line. I would have liked to see us tap into this zone a little bit as well, but beggars can't be choosers. I think, again, lower time frames, there's kind of like a counter trend line going through the market there as well. I feel like if you can break through that trend line and also clear the resistance as well, that's kind of really what you're looking for in terms of that indication that the buyers have stepped back into the market and gold is likely to rally. So maybe some lower time frame entries on the 50-minute chart might look something like that, waiting for the breakout, then a pullback, a retest somewhere, And yeah, a push back to highs, I would say, is a realistic move there. So gold still very much bullish and still expecting higher prices. As for pound Aussie and pound NZD, I was unfortunately stopped out of pound NZD. Price did pluck the lows very, very swiftly there. It's one of those trades where you just get kind of pinched and price rallies in your favor. I mean, most of the time I would always look to re-enter, but I was asleep during this time. I think, do we have some NZD news? I don't even know, because NZD was just very, very bearish when I woke up, so I was kind of lost as to why. I mean, I was expecting a bearish NZD anyway, but it just happened very quickly. But yeah, I did have some longs for pound NZD yesterday. Nice reaction off the low, stops with a bit of room below the low. We had the Fed interest rate yesterday, which pushed price down, not really aggressively, but enough to take my stop loss, and then price shifted. Again, if I was awake, I would have entered back into the position. But by the time I woke up, price was already starting to push around here. So the position's kind of well and truly gone. My risk reward would be a bit skewed, but ideally I would have wanted to find a re-entry at a similar price. But yeah, I was snoring at the time. But yeah, pound NZD, I still do have, I mean, longer term bearish bias. I actually am expecting price to really drop pretty hard. But I was looking to see if I can take some short-term buys off the low and then sell it later on. This was my first target. That will be my second target. And then I'll be hoping to find some shorts around here to take it back down again. So that was the plan, and it still is the plan there with pound NZD. But yeah, if you're looking for some shorts with this one, I mean, of course, your intraday. I'm speaking a bit more from a swing point of view. This is kind of really my preferred area to buy, to sell the market, because the way I view pound NZD right now, it's kind of like a big range. So if I'm going to get involved in a ranging market, it has to be more or less down at the lows or up at the highs. Here is kind of still in the middle of the range, so that's not really a prime place for me to enter. Not to say that price can't push there, react and push down. Of course it can, but I would feel a lot more comfortable if I can get my stop loss above the highs here, and of course that will do a lot of wonders for my risk reward as well. But as for entries right now, on the 15 minute, if I just clear the chart a little bit, I mean, it's a very aggressive move. I mean, I expect to see retracement. Do you have a particular area where you're looking to short see this integrated for pound NZD and pound Aussie? Let me have a look at pound Aussie. Again, both of them I do have bearish bias long term. I think pound Aussie is another pair that's likely to fall longer term as well. I know the market's still pretty bullish. I do think a bigger retracement's on the cards. I was just looking to try and find a short-term buy for a longer-term sell. And I think the same is likely to happen with pound NZD. Starting more or less to form some bearish structure here as well, with the low, lower high, lower low. Might form another one before another drop. But yeah, I mean, this for me is still kind of bullish territory, so I wouldn't really be looking to sell at these areas, even on the lower time frames. This is kind of support price held. Respect, again, I know we kind of broke through and broke back above, so not really respecting it much now. At the same time, I wouldn't really want to be selling into that. I want price to kind of push a little bit further higher, and then take some shorts, maybe coming closer into the highs there, more or less, even on the 15-minute chart. But yeah, longer term, I do think price is still likely to push back into the swing low there, and I think we can go a lot further too. Maybe even a retest of an area like this. We did take out the COVID highs not too long ago, going back over here. So I do think naturally price is due a pullback after taking out such significant highs as well. But in terms of an entry to short, I need price to be back at resistance again. So yeah, I do agree. I do have a bearish bias for both of them, but might see a bit more upside first before we do sell. Anyway, I'll go through Aussie Swiss. We'll take a look at Euro USD. Missed a bunch of messages. What is up? Follow the trend. Welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. Lauder, you're long gold, 33.48. Just hoping for continuation. I mean, I'm looking to buy it as well. Hopefully we can see that happen. I mean, I wouldn't expect anything too crazy now that we've got the interest rates out of the way for USD. Of course, we've got pound, but that shouldn't really affect gold's price action. Assuming a wild day in the markets with war, probably the bank holiday will not show much. Yeah. Market open tomorrow, expert, I guess. Assuming the dollar will be stronger in the coming days. Yeah, I've got pretty much a similar outlook as well. I'm looking for that kind of narrative as well. I'm looking for USD strength. I'm not really looking to buy it just yet, but I feel like we're on the cusp. DXY is starting to push higher. Haven't really seen much momentum with it. But if we can start to accelerate a little bit, maybe break through some highs on the left here, then yeah, pullbacks afterwards I think look like some smart buys. And I think there's some decent juice to that move. I think we can push maybe back to an area like this, which could be a very nice swing on euro or nice swing on pound. So I think there's opportunities there. Anyway, I'll take a look at Euro USD for BOG R, and then I'll take a look at Aussie Swiss as well. What's up, Julius? Welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. So yeah, Euro USD, a pair which again looking to sell, but not quite there yet. We are at support still. We could potentially bounce from here. I'm not really interested in the buys. Again, it's the same reasons why I've been explaining. Your price is very corrective in our last drive. If this was like a very impulsive push to the upside, that looks something like this, then yeah, I probably actually would be looking to buy Euro USD because I would expect at least one more kind of drive higher after a pullback. But this was a very corrective move, and the fact that we only just about cleared the highs does make me not want to buy the market, essentially. Very, very slow drive, failure to really sustain a break through the highs, the fact that we've been bullish for quite a while. These are all signs that maybe the market is running out of steam, and maybe we could be seeing a bit of a sell-off. So I'm more interested with the sells here with Euro, but they're not quite there yet. Similar to the DXY, I need to see a little bit more downside, break through some lows, then perhaps a pullback and a lower high is something I look to get involved with. Maybe take some shorts back into a low like this. I'm not looking for a big reversal, but I do think some lower, I do think some targets to the downside could be met there. So I am looking to short Euro, not quite ready yet. We could still rally from here for all I know. So, I'm not saying short the market now, but maybe next week sometime there might be something there for it. Pound USD also kind of give me a similar vibe too. If price can break through support there very well, I will be keeping a very close eye on some pullbacks and some shorts there too. You asked if you can see a test of 1.152. Let me have a look at that. 1.152. Drop to the hourly chart. The high there, possibly. I mean, not seeing much momentum here, which will indicate that, but we could very much see a retest of that. It's not too far away. This hasn't had a lot of momentum on the way down either. I would say it's pretty corrective, so I think a push to the upside is actually pretty realistic, to be honest. And then we might see some downside off the back of that, or of course we might break through as well. But it's not like we've shown a lot of momentum on the way down here. It's pretty corrective, so a push back up to 1.152, I would say is possible. I wouldn't look to trade that myself. I think maybe if you could see a little bit more rejection at the lows here, maybe a nice aggressive wick here, that would be a little bit more of a statement for a push up. But it's not like we've seen a lot of momentum in price just crack through support. So the possibility of a push back to the high there, I wouldn't say it's completely unlikely. So we could see a drive back to those highs. Like I said, I wouldn't bet on it personally, but I wouldn't see, again, especially with the smaller fluctuations, we're not a crystal ball. We can't say if price will get here or not. All I can do is share my opinion in terms of, okay, we're still seeing evidence of support holding. We could still see a push price higher. Okay, we'll go through Aussie Seed Chef next. Okay, if 98.5 holds, you look for another buy. Really taking advantage of DXY there. See it's integrated. Appreciate it, Julius. Kindly like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Appreciate it. Yeah, guys, if you're enjoying the channel, please be sure to drop a like and subscribe. It does really help out, and I do really appreciate it. It does help the channel grow, gets the content out there a little bit more. So if you can, drop a like, subscribe, share with your trading buddies, and of course hit the bell too so you don't miss out on any streams or uploads in the future. That does really help out, so thank you a lot for that. Nika, that was a wicked what Pound NZD did. Yeah, I know, Lauda. It was absolutely diabolical from Pound NZD. But yeah, I mean, the beauty of trading, especially if you have like a stop loss placed and refined risk, you're always going to come into those situations. There's no situation where you won't experience a trade like that where you just get plucked at the lows and then price rallies in your favor. Unless you have very, very wide stop losses or you don't use a stop loss, at least electronic stop loss, that's the only way you can kind of avoid those situations. But the market's not perfect, you're not perfect, you're not going to call the market to a T all the time. So yeah, unfortunate there. I mean, again, ideally in that situation, you want to kind of get back into the trade. Yes, you might be wicked out, but if the support's still holding, if the idea is still valid, you want to get right back in. And unfortunately, I was sleeping at the time, so I wasn't able to do that. But yeah, unfortunately with Pound NZD, but we move on to the next one. That is trading for you. Yep, we got GBP rates as well. Maybe. I think the rates are expected to stay the same, aren't they? Let's have a quick look. Yeah, rates expected to stay the same. So I'm not too sure how much noise the interest rates will cause in the market, whether we'll see much of a reaction or not. Of course, if they don't come out as expected, then maybe we will. But yeah, maybe I get a chance to re-enter. We'll have to wait and see. But to be honest, I'm not so keen to re-enter because I actually do expect the bigger move to be to the downside. The buy I was looking for here was just more like a short-term push to the upside, trading it back into resistance, and then hopefully locking in some gains and then starting to look to potentially sell around 2.275. So if the market just kind of charges to the upside, I'm just going to be more focused with the sells now and hopefully take some shorts at a later date. But of course, I would love to be in the trade down at the lows here, but it wasn't meant to be. I reckon another universe somewhere, alternate reality, maybe price would have missed my stop loss. Okay, let me go take a look at Aussie CHF before I forget. So yeah, CHF pair is interesting. Very, very interesting. Looking very bearish. CHF, of course, at the moment is very strong, which is basically a huge contradiction to what happened this morning in terms of the rates being lowered. I'm sure there's like an underlying reason why CHF is strong. Most of the time when rates do cut, you would expect a weaker currency, but in this case, it is very strong actually. Not even neutral, it's actually quite strong. So we've had a big contradiction there. But yeah, as a result, Aussie CHF's pushed down, CHF JPY's pushed up. I think yen might be a little bit weak as well, but very strong push to the upside. New Zealand CHF, strong push down. So CHF, of course, NZD being weak as well, that's kind of helped that out too. CAD CHF, fairly strong push down as well. So CHF is quite strong. I've been looking to buy Aussie CHF and take it back to some levels up here. That for me is still the bigger move, but I have to be very, very patient because at the moment things are still looking pretty bearish here for Aussie CHF. We're still very consistent with the low highs. The fact that we had this very strong down move towards the end of last week kind of made me back off that bullish bias. I said if price can see some more upside, push back into highs, that will kind of make me bullish again, or at least allow me to look for some entries on a pullback to take it higher. So at that point, we could be looking at a nice V-shaped pattern, which is a bullish pattern, and then I'll be looking for the pullback for the reversal and hopefully a push back to highs like so. So yeah, Aussie CHF, again, I do like it to the upside still because we're coming from all-time lows. Naturally, that would be the bigger move for Aussie CHF, but this bearish structure has been playing its part very, very well, and we've been quite consistent with it as well. So this could be another low high forming, and we could be seeing a push back to the lows for all I know. I'm not really looking to sell the pair, but I'm definitely not looking to buy the pair either. So I'm kind of just staying away from Aussie CHF for the moment. If we can recover the highs at some point, then yeah, I would be looking for opportunities again to the upside. But all I can see now is bearish structure, and I don't want to be stubborn. I don't want to have that kind of that thinking that, okay, the market has to push up. We've come from all-time highs. We've still got a lot more upside to go. So let me just focus on buys. That you don't want to be stubborn with that. The market can do whatever it likes. It did make all-time lows here, but who's to say it can't make new all-time lows before we do have that bigger pullback? So I have to be able to react to what the market's giving us. But yeah, Aussie CHF looking pretty weak. Judging with that close there, I wouldn't be surprised if we do push back to lows. And in fact, looking at a lot of the other CHF pairs as well, I wouldn't be surprised if we do push back to their respective lows. Euro CHF, back down to this area. New Zealand CHF, I think we're already at support. Well, not quite, but I wouldn't be surprised if we get back there. Swiss yen, I wouldn't be surprised for new highs with that one. Not too far away from that. Of course, dollar CHF, that one hasn't been as bearish because USD's been relatively strong, so that one hasn't pushed down, but it did react pretty well with this kind of area of supply yesterday. And if CHF can remain strong, again, I wouldn't be too surprised if we do push back down to the lows as well. So CHF pairs, although I have been bullish on, I'm not really seeing opportunities to be bullish on them, to find entries. Euro CHF is a pair that I've been waiting for price to break the consolidation anyway. New Zealand CHF, I said I'm waiting for it to break the consolidation as well now. And that's been ranging for some time. So, and pound CHF hasn't been particularly great as well. So CHF pairs not really looking quite the part. Even if you're looking to sell them, you don't really want to be entering here. I wouldn't say they're actually looking good to sell either. Wouldn't want to be entering there either. So I think maybe the only one that looks maybe not too bad for a sell might be Aussie Swiss. Probably don't want to be entering there either, but you can probably make use of that range there. So yeah, CHF pairs looking bearish. Wouldn't be surprised if we push back into the lows. I'm not really looking to sell them myself because I still think the bigger move is to the upside, but they're definitely not ready to be looking to be bought yet. So got to stay patient, and we might see a push back into the lows. Okay, where was I? Silver on point of interest. Yes, silver is there. I didn't like the pullback with silver. That might be me being a bit picky because it was quite aggressive. But I did say if I can find some healthy rejection here, I'll still try and look to buy it. To be honest, I do prefer gold. I think the gold price action is just a bit tidier based on how things have developed. Yesterday I was saying silver looks a bit better, but yeah, 24 hours has happened, things have changed. I would say gold looks a little bit better now, especially with that wick we had this morning. But they're very similar, so again, I'm not too bothered necessarily which one I look to trade, as long as I can get good, healthy entry and they look good. In silver's case, we have pushed back down into this area, so now I want to see some wicks. I want to see maybe even consolidation, and I want to see a strong shift in momentum. That would be what I look to try and get involved with, because essentially we've had the strong breakout. There's a lot of bullish momentum in the market. I don't want to see bearish momentum continue. That kind of makes me think that we might form a big kind of ascending channel here and have that bigger pullback anyway. We still do have that big 35 level just below us, which if price wants to come back and retest, I'm all for that as well, because I think that could be a very nice place to position yourself long. And especially if you're looking for a big swing trade, that might be the best level for it. But I like the aggressive wick here, and I like the fact that we create new highs from it. So I'm looking at this as a higher low, and that as a higher high. So as we come back into this range, I think there is a good chance for a high low to form. Just now waiting for price action to dictate an entry. So wicks, bullish engulfing candles here in the 4-hour chart. Then expectations would be a swing back to high, and then eventually back to 40. But I'll probably just trail stops, to be honest, with silver. I won't have a finite target. yeah, I'll just try to stop to see how far we can take it. But yeah, silver back in a very interesting area, waiting for price really to develop pretty much. Okay, euro waiting for retest, 1.152, GBP 1.35. I have sell position. Okay, yeah, I'm looking to sell them as well. I like pound a little bit more, so I'm kind of just focused a bit more on pound USD myself. Again, looking at two different time frames really, but funny enough, same bias. I'm looking for downside there as well. Only if we can crack support here. If we can crack support there, well, that kind of really puts the cherry on top, and that tells me that okay, price is likely going to be bearish now, and this might have just been a bit of a top for the trend. And yeah, shorts for pound should look good, and yeah, the first kind of major target would be a push back into the low here, just above 1.315. So pound USD, I'm definitely getting ready for some shorts there. You're looking at 1.35, so that would be around here-ish for a pullback. Yeah, I would prefer the breakout, but we might see a reaction off the low initially first anyway. And Euro USD, you're looking for a pullback into 1.152, which is the high there as well, which could provide some nice shorts on the hourly chart. But again, I would want to see the push first and then a pullback. But then again, I'm looking for shorts on the 4-hour chart. So different perspectives, but yeah, similar bias for both of them. Morning, Ivan. Welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. Morning, Ahmed. Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to the stream. Hope you're doing good. Lauder, Aussie, New Zealand dollar. Okay. Okay, you like the long? We'll take a look. Antonio, what is up, my man? Hope you're well. Bias for New Zealand yen. Yes, I will take a look. I haven't really looked at the yen pairs yet, have I? I will go have a look see. But yeah, AUD hasn't been my favorite pair as of late. Just quite messy, to be honest. Did have a nice breakout, of course. This morning NZD was quite weak, so I'm guessing price has enjoyed that a little bit. We've seen a nice reaction higher. You're liking the longs for pound and for Aussie. I keep saying pound NZD. I've got pound NZD in the brain. Yeah, I don't mind the longs for Aussie New Zealand dollar. I mean, naturally, price has been reacting to the trend line quite well. And I would say coming to this area here is a bit more of a bullish territory. You got a low here, price is respecting pretty well. We wicked into that. Looks like that support level is holding. So I wouldn't say it's the worst place for a buy. It makes sense for a buy, especially on the 4-hour chart with the break of consolidation. Yeah, I wouldn't mind it, to be honest. I wouldn't mind it because it's only fresh as well. It's just happened. It's not like price has been trending for a while, especially with like Aussie New Zealand dollar. If the market's been trending for a while, I wouldn't want to jump in to follow that trend because it's a very corrected market. If I'm going to trade this, it's more so at the beginning of the trend or beginning of the move, whatever the move is. And this is like the first signal of the move happening, the first breakout. So taking the pullback after that, I think is a smart play. Possibly could push back to the high there, but you got numerous highs to the left here to look at for targets. So yeah, based on how aggressive you want to be. But yeah, I think it's a smart move. It makes sense based on where we're trading. Sharp break to the upside. Personally, I would wait for a little bit more upside before looking for a retest. I like it when price kind of gives me the width, or the height, I should say, of the range and the breakout. So if we could see something roughly around there, then pull back, that would give me a bit more confidence for a buy. But nonetheless, I would agree with the direction. I wouldn't be looking to hold the position far because there's no kind of overall trend here with pound NZD. I keep saying, what's going on with pound NZD? I'm scarred. I wouldn't say there's an obvious trend here of Aussie New Zealand dollar. So therefore, I wouldn't be looking for a big target or a big move. But sure, if you can find a retest there, I think that would be a smart play. And as we said, we've got some targets there to the left to look at. So yeah, not too shabby there. I'll go take a look at New Zealand yen. I'll probably go through some other yen pairs as well. All right, take care, Lauder. Have a good one. We'll see you tomorrow. Appreciate it. Thank you. Appreciate it. But yeah, have a good one. We'll see you tomorrow. Antonio, New Zealand yen, what is my bias? Haven't really been too focused with New Zealand yen. Out of the yen pairs, Euro yen, Swiss yen, and pound yen really have been the yen pairs I've been more focused on. As for New Zealand yen, looks like we keep banging our heads at resistance here, having a little bit of trouble to break through. Interesting stuff indeed. So yeah, New Zealand yen with this one, I have been bullish for a while. Ever since we had this drive higher, creating a new high, I've been looking for price to pull back and continue. I was hoping for a little bit bigger of a pullback into this zone at 83.6. Unfortunately, didn't quite see that happen. Price formed a higher low and continued to the upside from there. But now that we are starting to kind of fail at highs, I wouldn't be so bullish, to be honest, because this move could still just be a pullback of this swing as well. Let's not forget that we are kind of respecting the 0.618 pretty well there as well. So we're kind of at a crossroad here. I feel like if you could see a sustained break of this, then pullbacks after could look for some nice longs. If price continues to respect resistance, I wouldn't be too surprised if we do break lower and there is a pretty big move to the downside again for New Zealand yen. So, I mean, at resistance, I think the shorts make sense. I wouldn't be looking to sell now. The market is still more or less pretty consistent with these higher lows. And this could be another one. So I wouldn't be looking to sell the market. I wouldn't be looking to buy it really. We're kind of just squeezing between this trend line and that resistance. Quite a lot of the yen pairs are doing this kind of pattern at the moment right now. I would say if I was to be bullish, I would need price to break the highs well and then look for some pullbacks afterwards. Perhaps the retest of this level would be my opportunity, my setup. So that would make me bullish. And of course, a break to the downside and taking out some of these lows, that would make me bearish. Then yeah, lower highs and the new low would of course be my expectation, and I will be pretty bearish at that point. So as of right now, I would say I'm a bit neutral, maybe leaning towards a bullish bias because of the higher lows we're forming. But I need this to happen before I look for a buy. I'm not so interested to operate within this area. But yeah, something like that would definitely make me bullish. And I could probably start looking at maybe some of these highs to the left as some targets for the trade. And keep it relatively simple. But yeah, this kind of looks like a big inverse head and shoulder pattern to me. So if you can go and break the neckline / break the resistance, I would expect more upside and some entries there. But of course, if you do break to the downside, I'll reinvestigate and probably had a bearish bias at that point. So that's kind of what I'm leaning to with New Zealand yen. Just need to see price kind of break higher first. DT, what is up? Hope your trades are going well. Unfortunately, got stopped out on PanNZD. Very annoyingly, because it looks like it's playing out pretty well at the moment. But with the news yesterday, I just got plucked at the low. I stopped around about there. Got trailed out. Again, ideally I would have found a re-entry for the trade, but because it happened overnight, I wasn't awake to find a re-entry for the position. By the time I woke up, price was kind of already trading around here. So it's kind of left me in the dust a little bit. But yeah, essentially this was the only trade for the week so far. Haven't really seen much opportunities. I've been keeping a close eye on USD, but they haven't really presented opportunities on the time frames I'm looking to trade just yet. Yen hasn't really been playing ball. CHF pairs didn't really do what I was expecting them to do this week either, so I didn't really get setups for them. So yeah, being quite patient. PanNZD did set up well, but only yeah, the only pair that actually did set up for me this week. Stefan, gold 15, possible entry. Okay, we'll have a look. I'm assuming you're talking about longs. Natty, pound yen, no problem. We'll take a look. DT. Okay, most of the time taking a long time and it sucks. Yeah, I mean, some people have like set time periods for their trades in terms of, okay, if it hasn't played out in the first day or 2 days or whatever, or a few hours even, they kind of close the trade where it is. I kind of have a take where I kind of just buy the market and I just monitor how things go. If it does consolidate for like 3 days, as long as there's no kind of big red flags, I will still hold that position with the expectation that my bias is still going to play out. And of course, sometimes you take a trade and it kind of instantly flies in your direction as well. But some people kind of say, okay, it's consolidated for more than a day, I'm just going to call it quits on that position, or it just hasn't really seen the momentum I'm looking for. But yeah, sometimes positions will take long. I feel like those are the kind of the tougher positions because your mind can sometimes play tricks on you a little bit in terms of closing the trade a little bit early just because you get bored a little bit. Prices might just be moving quite slowly, so you're like, let me just close the position, take my profit and run. And then the time you do that is then suddenly when momentum shifts and you see a big move in your favor. So yeah, it's not fun to be stuck in a position when it kind of just moving slow. Yeah, there's nothing really you can do about that, and just kind of just hold the position. You could close it early, but you do run that risk of missing out on the move as well. As for 15 entries, like I said, Stefan, I'm presuming you're talking about buys, or probably not actually on the 15, because I would not be looking to buy it there. Again, I wouldn't be looking to sell it either, to be honest. I'm quite bullish on gold. I do think we can still see higher highs and higher lows. In fact, I'm looking at this being a higher low for price to push higher. So I'm kind of getting ready to find some entries for some longs on the 4-hour chart, of course, which is going to set up a lot later than the 15, but we're looking at a similar idea for another higher low as we've been doing, another one to print, and then hopefully a swing back to highs. As for the 15-minute chart, I would still say the market is bearish. We're still seeing lower lows and lower highs here. So if I was looking to try and find some buys in the 15, I would wait for structure to shift first, something like this to pluck the highs, and then look for some pullbacks. And then a higher low would be my idea for an entry. Maybe the retest of this area, maybe it comes a little bit deeper into this area, but more or less something like that for a trade. I need that first indication to tell me, okay, the buys are stepping in, because at the moment things are still bearish, and for all we know, price might still want to drop lower. So I need that indication, I need that momentum, that statement to say the buys are stepping into the market, we're ready now to push higher. Then yeah, pullbacks on the retest of this level, or the retest of this level, or even if the breakout is quite big, even the retest of the highs here as well. But as long as we kind of stay within this bearish structure, within this channel, price could still very much continue to fall. So I need that indication before I would suggest buys for gold. We're coming into resistance right now, so I would definitely say now is probably the worst time to be looking to buy. Not that we can't go higher, but you're coming directly into some price support, which would be turn resistance, kind of an area of supply to our left there as well. So this is not the place to be looking to buy the market. Yeah, I would wait that first kind of big bullish move and then pullbacks after. Then yeah, swing back to the high and you could be looking at a pretty decent risk to reward there. So yeah, a bit of patience there with gold. I think there could be some nice buys coming up, but I wouldn't say we're ready yet. And we could still fall to the downside. We don't have to push to the upside. We could still fall lower. So you want to be able to protect yourself for that happening as well. So yeah, be a bit patient there with gold. Yeah, I think the buys are coming around soon, but I wouldn't say they're ready yet. In terms of pound yen, kind of a similar pattern to what New Zealand yen is doing in terms of consistent resistance here. And then you can see the higher lows price is printing. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, arguably 6 there as well, even though we dipped slightly below. But yeah, price is just kind of squeezing between this resistance and that support, and I'm just biding my time waiting for price to actually give us the breakout, because whilst we're in this range, it's kind of more or less 50-50. Again, I do kind of favor a break to the upside. That's kind of my expectation. I feel like we're more likely to break to the upside than break down. I say that because price, again, just about had a break of structure over here. If we were going to break to the downside, I kind of would have expected us to do that by now. And also I wouldn't have expected price to just pluck the highs there either. So I do think we're likely to break higher with pound yen. And if that's the case, I do think we can push back into the high here at 199.660. So in terms of an entry, pretty straightforward, I would say. If we can break resistance here, that would leave behind a nice, relatively healthy level of support. Resistance once, twice, a third time. Of course, a bit of a fake out there, but I think there's a good chance we can use that as support. Stops below, then a push back to that high, roughly at 200. Would make a load of sense for a target. And of course, if we do break lower, I will shift my bias if I can see a strong break of the trend line and perhaps look for a retest somewhere, maybe a retest of a level like that, and so on and so forth. And maybe at that point we do push to lows here. But yeah, I'm not necessarily favoring that. I think this is the more likely outcome. But then again, you're going to wait anyway, so there's no point really in terms of having your expectations because you're waiting for the market to break out anyway. So you might as well just wait for it to happen and then judge what your next move will be. But yeah, pound yen, I do think we're likely to break higher. Kind of a similar situation to New Zealand yen. I do think this one, again, likely to break higher as well. Maybe push back into this high too. So that's kind of what my expectation will be. And if I quickly go through and take a look at the yen itself. So the JPY basket. This one has been pretty bearish. It is kind of still respecting support, which is kind of the reason why we still had that bounce the past few days. So you can see a very critical level of support here. Held once, twice, briefly a third time. Still very consistent with these lower highs with the yen. You could probably say that might be another one as well. But I do feel like price is likely to break through this level. We had two very good reactions. I feel like if price was going to push high, I probably would have seen that move by now. Looks like this trend line here has obeyed price, or price has obeyed that trend line very, very well. I feel like we're likely going to break lower. How far we go, where we go, I'm not too sure about that. I mean, there are some major lows down here, which maybe price might be attracted towards. But I wouldn't necessarily bank on price getting there. I think we're due a break to the downside. We'll see how big of a break it will be. But yeah, yen to me still looks pretty weak. So yen pairs in general, I do think there's upside to be had. And pound yen, New Zealand yen, I feel like we can break higher. Good morning, Yusuf. Welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. Welcome. Dollar CHF sells. Yeah, that's actually not a bad shout, to be honest. CHF is quite strong. I mean, I am looking for strength in the USD, but it hasn't quite come yet, or at least as much as I was being expecting. So we could still see dollar CHF still roll over. We've got lows here. Price might still want to go and test and take out. As I said at the start of the week, as long as dollar CHF doesn't take out this area, you know, the market is still technically bearish. We have been pretty consistent with these lower highs here. So, you know, this could easily be another one. Kind of got this trend line here to kind of mark things out there. So if price does break to the upside, takes out the trend line, takes out that structure there, then yeah, I wouldn't be looking to sell the market anymore. And at that point, I think we might see some nice bullish opportunities back into some of these highs, 0.834 and maybe 0.848 up there as well. So yeah, not pound CHF, dollar CHF, I can see the sell idea there. I think in terms of entries, I mean, that's a nice bearish engulfing candle, but I would say we're kind of still, if I drop to the hourly chart, we're kind of still obeying structure here. So I think I wouldn't be looking to try and follow that momentum, because to me it looks like price is still kind of trading inside this market structure. If we were to break the low there, then that would be the indication that dollar CHF is likely to fall and probably push back to the low. So I'd watch out for this trend line and shorting that momentum, because it looks like we're kind of holding this. If this can break, then you could be looking good for the shorts back into the low. If not, I've got a feeling we might push back into the level again, and we'll see what happens. Maybe we break, maybe we turn around. But the fact that we're kind of still just holding onto that trend line there doesn't really give me much confidence to short the market right now. So I'll be careful of that with dollar CHF. But yeah, the market's still bearish, and we zoom out, look at what the market's been doing. So I understand looking to sell, it makes sense. CHF is still very, very strong right now. So there's a lot of arrows pointing to the downside, but I feel like a break of that counter trend would be what a good entry would be and a good catalyst to get into the trade. If not, yeah, I've got a feeling we might push back into the level again. And we'll go from there. But I am bullish on the DXY. I feel like that's the bigger move for the dollar. So again, I'm not so interested right now as of shorting the USD. Again, I could be wrong. We're not guaranteed to see some upside. The price could, of course, fall. I'm still quite not ready yet to be buying it either. So yeah, there's that too. I still want to see price kind of take out some highs to our left and do it with some decent momentum too. I don't want to see a corrective push higher. If it's a very corrective one, I'd probably just stay neutral on the dollar and just leave it alone, to be honest. But if price can pick up some momentum, see a strong break of the high, sure, some pullbacks after would look good. And yeah, I think we can push back to highs here, 100.4, maybe even a lot further there as well. But yeah, as for pairs which I'm interested in terms of my kind of watch list, I'm going to be keeping a close eye on pound NZD sales now that we're kind of pushing higher. I think the sales is still where the bigger move is at. So as we push back into 2.27, that's really where I want to kind of find my shorting positions from. I think I'll also keep an eye on pound Aussie. It's a very similar pair to pound NZD. If we can push back into these highs, also kind of resistance up there, I would be interested in a short as well. Nice place for a stop loss, and still I think the risk reward looks pretty good there as well. At the moment, kind of retesting support, so not really interested in finding entries in this area. But if we can pull a bit higher, I think that would be a nice place for a short. Stops above the high, targets back into the low, I think make a lot of sense. So pound NZD shorts, pound Aussie shorts, pound USD shorts as well. Not necessarily quite confirmed yet, but I feel like that's where the bigger move will be. I need to see price go and break support first, and then look for some pullbacks, and then yeah, I'll be looking for a swing back into that low. Again, the main reason why I'm interested in shorting pound USD is because we've been trending for a while to the upside, so the market's quite stretched. Our last kind of bullish leg was a little bit corrective there, so showing signs of running out of steam. We did take out a major high, but it looks like it was kind of a bit of a anticlimactic breakout, because I remember we did break the high very aggressively, but we haven't really gone anywhere since then. We've had a very strong close back down on Tuesday, and if that momentum does continue and breaks back below, well, that looks like a big fake out to me, and then I'll be looking for pullbacks and more downside. Then this becomes the first kind of meaningful target for pound USD shorts. So pound USD definitely on the radar. Another one of the dollar pairs on the radar would be dollar CAD. I feel like that has a lot of upside to give. Again, we've spoken a few reasons why. Coming back into such a big area of demand. Massive move to the upside. We're back there again. I expect buyers to revisit this kind of area, looking to jump back into the market. We've seen that first indication of bullish momentum, and I would be looking at a slightly bigger pullback for a higher low, or even a double bottom, which would be my preferred kind of opportunity, and then take some bias off the back of that. I'm not necessarily looking for a massive reversal, but if we can come back into retest the prior high, or retest this area, or retest that area there, that's kind of really what I'm looking at there for dollar CAD. Aussie dollar, I'm still interested in shorts, but I doubt I do get the entry now. We've been very, very corrective in this channel. I do think price is likely to break to the downside. I've talked a lot about the test of the upper end of the channel, so that's kind of where I'm looking to see if I can find some entries. We've been very, very corrective in the middle. We've got this middle kind of line, this dotted line running through the channel. That represents the middle of the channel, and that's kind of the area I want to avoid finding entries. I want to find entries right at the top or right at the bottom, away from all the noise, and that would suffice. If we can get a drive back to the up end of the channel, some entries up there, You take out some of these highs here too, where I would imagine a lot of stop losses would be, and then we see the drop lower. That would be, perfect. Whether we get the pullback or not, I don't know. We're looking quite bearish now. We might just bleed from here, but if we can rally, great. I think there could be some really nice shorts around 0.658. And then, of course, you've got gold and silver. These guys have been in the watch list for the past couple of weeks, really. Gold, looking for some entries in this area. I'm basically anticipating this to be a higher low with that wick. Very aggressive push down. You can see the consolidation we got here. The way I'm kind of reading prices, that we've been flat, pushed down, maybe taking out some early buyers, and now hopefully momentum can step into the market. I think that'll be a solid entry signal. Buys back into the high, and then you got the high over there as well. I like gold and silver because I'm not necessarily looking to have a finite target for the trade. These are opportunities where I'm looking just trying to remove take profits, and just trail stops and see how far we can go. The conditions are very, very bullish. I wouldn't want to kind of put a cap to my profits here because you don't know, maybe another one of these moves happens, and if you just trail well, you probably make a lot more than you would have done if I just put a take profit at the high here. So yeah, trading stops will be the technique, and likewise with silver as well. Silver, I've got a couple of areas I'm looking to buy from, this consolidation being one of them. We pushed back in a little bit aggressive, was a little bit quick. I did want to see a bit more upside there for silver in the breakout, which I was mentioning yesterday. Excuse me. Yesterday. Didn't quite see that happen, unfortunately. But the opportunity still looks really good. So just waiting to see if we can get some solid rejection in this area. Wicks, strong bullish engulfing candle. And that'll be enough for an entry. If not, there's this level below, just below 35, which of course coincides with that high there. If we can see a push back into that zone, that would be great. Entries there. And again, another situation where I just want to trail stops and see how far we can go. So, yeah, I think that's it. Of course, some of the yen pairs, I forgot Euro yen and Swiss yen. Still looking to sell these, but not quite got the characteristics just yet. Looking to see if we can push through the low here, through the high there, sorry, and then start to short afterwards. You can see the market's been quite bullish here, but I'm looking to see if we can get some real bearish momentum back into the market. Take out some of these lows and look for some pullbacks and some shorts afterwards. I'm also looking at the Swiss yen as well, although Swiss is quite strong right now, so I have to be careful with that one. We did see a bit of momentum yesterday as price did drop below that high, but nothing crazy. It was quite corrective, and of course this morning a strong close to the upside, so I need to see price kind of push down again, show me that the bears mean business, then I'll look for a pullback and some more sells. But yeah, definitely not quite ready yet. I think Swiss and Euro might take some time. Okay, where was I? Yusuf, thoughts on pound USD buys, 1.3410. Okay, we'll have a look. Oh no, DT. Got the vacation just to come down with a cold. That is unfortunate, especially when the weather's like this as well. Yeah, that is not great. I feel like yeah, I don't even know what to say to that. That is unfortunate. Finally caught a break, and you've been absolutely done dirty there. Hopefully it's one of those calls where it kind of lasts like a day and then it's over with. Not like anything excessive. Good morning, Open Meepo. Welcome to the stream. I am good. Thank you. Hope you are well too. Okay, so Yusuf, pound USD buys. Let us have a look. See. So yeah, pound USD still at support. I've been holding back my bearish bias. I've been looking to sell this one actually. But I've been patient because price is still just about holding on to support. And of course, if I'm looking to sell the market, I don't want to be selling directly into support, do I? So I need price to actually break through this before I short it. But yeah, I'm not a fan of the buys anymore, at least in the 4-hour chart. You can see how corrected we've been here. Not really what I want to be seeing in terms of a healthy bullish market. Because again, I'm not looking just to buy a market just because it's bullish. It needs to have good characteristics that make me want to buy it. A healthy trend, momentum, clear higher highs and higher lows, healthy pullbacks. All of that and more really is kind of what I'm looking for in terms of justifying if a trend is worth following. Pound USD at the moment is kind of like, not really worth following in my opinion right now. I know we're just about holding on to support, but we've had a very corrected move up and a very strong push down. So that's kind of backwards. I want to see a strong push up and a corrected move down to imply the pullback. But in the meantime, we are holding support. Price might rally off that. I'm not saying we're guaranteed to push lower, but I'm just more interested if we can drive lower, then find some pullbacks. That would kind of fit my plan pretty well for some shorts. You said you're looking for some buys from 1.3410. Let me drop to the 15. So 1.3410. So that would be the high here. I mean, the market is quite bearish on the 15. So the buys here, I wouldn't say are particularly high probability, a little bit more of an aggressive trade. Essentially, you're trying to call this the low of the market and then capitalize on a swing higher, at least back to the highs here. But on the 15, we've of course broken to the downside. We've cleared lows like they weren't there, taken up those lows as well. And of course, the market's been forming lower lows and lower highs since. So as price does push up to resistance supply, in this area, I would expect to see, bearish momentum kick back in and maybe see another drive back into lows. So looking for buys then, a 50-minute chart. Again, not the worst thing in the world. I would just point out the market's still bearish. We have kind of broken through this minor structure here. So technically we do have a break of structure in our hands and we could form a higher low and we could push higher and we could even break through the highs there too. So that could all, of course, still very much happen. But I would just say it's slightly more aggressive because momentum is not necessarily in your favor, at least from the 50-minute chart anyway. If price was to go and clear the highs here, I would say that's a bigger statement for a buy. And the pullbacks after would make a little bit more sense there to me because at least that kind of momentum has been sort of invalidated and structure's completely shifted in my favor. So I would have a bit more confidence taking those pullbacks. Again, not necessarily trying to take them back to highs, but I know I'll at least catch a nice pop in my favor, even if price still wants to go lower. Whereas the buy here, price very much could just break through the lows like they weren't there. But it's a more of an aggressive opportunity. And again, just because an opportunity is particularly more aggressive doesn't mean it's a bad trade either. It's just more aggressive in nature. Sometimes aggressive trades play out and sometimes they can be very, very rewarding as well. So again, aggressive doesn't necessarily mean bad. Conservative doesn't necessarily mean good. It's just the nature of the trade. But yeah, I would say it makes sense. We've got the break of structure there. A retest of that could provide some nice buys. I'll just stay cautious of this area, which could, of course, send price back down against me. So if I was to catch a buy here, things go well, maybe I see price slowing down. I could look to maybe secure some gains, move stops to break even, just protect my trade. If you have bigger targets, nothing wrong with that. But just be prepared that price might kind of roll over, coming back into that area. So if you can manage against that, then yeah, sure. I think it's a nice buy opportunity. But yeah, I'd watch out for that kind of area supply directly above us. Because if we do react well, we might completely sell off. But yeah, as for the 4-hour chart, yeah, I'm more just waiting for the sell opportunities there. And again, the market isn't bearish yet. I'm waiting to sell the market, but I wouldn't say the market is bearish. This is still very much a bullish market. Sometimes you just need to zoom out and just look at it from the bird's eye view and just keep things simple. Which way is price going? It's going to the upside. So the market is still bullish. But if I do see a strong break to the downside and price now back within the high there, that then gives me confidence to actually look for a short on that retest and see if I can take some sells. So that's what I'm waiting for a sell. And of course, still kind of a long way away from happening, because not only do I need to see a decent breakout, I also need to see a decent pullback as well. And prices kind of, not even begin to do one of them. So I have to stay patient. But yeah, I'd watch out for that for pound USD. In terms of the indices, I haven't actually looked at these guys yet. I haven't actually looked at them since yesterday, so I have no idea what they've done. Okay, so US 30 looking a little bit bearish, pointing lower. S&P 500 pushing lower as well. I think the key characteristic with these indices is just how tight they're looking. You can see, yes, we do have an uptrend with higher highs and higher lows, but look how corrective this last move is. We had a push down and still were quite corrective. So the market is just very tight. The S&P is doing that as well. The S&P is doing that as well. Very, very tired. You can see with the nature of how price is moving. And US 30, pretty much the same thing there as well. So I do still expect them to get back to their respective all-time highs. So US 30 a push back to 45k, I still think is a likely move. S&P back to all-time highs, NAS back to all-time highs, but we are having some trouble here. So maybe we do go for a bit of a sell-off. Of course, we've got some support below us around 41,500. I actually think that would be a nice place for a buy. If we could see maybe a large double bottom form, maybe even spike through the low, I think that would be a very nice position yourself long, especially if you're looking for a big swing trade. If you can long from here, I think you're in a very, very safe place, because if things do go well, it could be a position where you just kind of hold. You're kind of far away from any kind of other pullbacks that may happen along the way, and kind of just hold on to the trade, because naturally you would expect US 30 to push back to highs. You expect the S&P to push back to highs as well. But the S&P is not too far away. NAS is not too far away too. So again, expecting us to get there. But I think we might have a pullback if I whip out the fib. I got a feeling maybe somewhere around this zone here, we might pull back into, maybe from a higher low then push. We've got some equal lows here. Price might want to go and take out. Got the 0.618, got a small area of demand there as well. I think pushing to 58.60 might be a reasonable place for a buy and then a continuation. NAS 100, kind of looking at the same vibe as well. This one very, very close to the all-time highs. Another market slowing down. You got the equal lows there as well. Again, feel like price is likely to rip through them. Maybe push back into this area, and then try and find the buy from there, back into resistance and maybe beyond as well. So yeah, NAS 100, S&P, US 30, the main US indices, I would say all look bullish as a whole, but they might be seeing a bit more downside maybe for the next few days or so. But if you're looking for a swing trade, I think we could be coming into them in the next few days, so keep a close eye on them. But especially S&P and especially NAS, very, very close to all-time highs. Yes, we probably look like we're going to have maybe one last big pullback before we do go and take them. But that should be a nice place for a buy. Should provide some nice long opportunities as well. The DAX, I think we're in a similar situation as well, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, we're having a pullback there too. Also retesting prior structure here as well. I think it is a smart place for a buy for the DAX as well. We are still quite corrective, so I'm not too sure if price is actually going to respect this area. I think in terms of a good entry, you want to see price kind of really shift and break to the upside. Otherwise, we might actually just roll over completely. If we break through this level, the next big kind of area would be 22,250, this zone here. Of course, we could form a high low anywhere, but that would be the next kind of reasonable place, I would say, for a buy. And then hopefully a push back to these highs, and then we can probably go further and see some new all-time highs as well. But if we are going to hold on to support here, need to see momentum shift and need to see a strong close if we are going to push through. But yeah, as a whole, indices still looking very, very bullish. It'll be interesting to see what they do in relation to dollar, because I'm expecting dollar strength as well. But maybe, I mean, if dollar is strong and we do pull back, then that would push the indices down some more, which is kind of what I'm looking at. Then maybe if dollar does fall from, let's say, that structural high, then maybe we could see some big moves for the indices as well. But yeah, in terms of the FX pairs, I kind of have my pairs which I'm fixated on, kind of still waiting to see what happens. With the pound interest rates later today, I think pound at the moment is a little bit strong right now. Pound pushing up a little bit there against the dollar. That might be a bit more USD related. I know pound NZD is pushing up pretty strongly, but again, NZD is very weak as well. Pound against the Aussie dollar, that's pushing up, but again, Aussie's pretty weak. Pound yen, that's pushing up. So yeah, it does look like pound is pretty strong at the moment. Against CHF, yeah, pushing up a lot there, to be honest, as well. And pound Canadian dollar, starting to pick up some momentum there as well. So it does look like we've got a bullish pound at the moment. Will that last through the news? I have no idea. Rates are expected to stay the same, so it's not necessarily a bullish, indication for the currency. Not necessarily a bearish one either. But I suppose what's said about pound afterwards will have a big impact. But yeah, in terms of pound pairs, I'm kind of looking to sell them soon. I think at the moment they're still quite strong. But pound USD, I think there might be some nice shorts. Pound NZD, I think there might be some nice shorts. Pound CAD, I think eventually there will be some nice shorts for this one. It's still very much running out of steam on the higher time frames. You can see the weekly chart, how much rejection we're getting up at the highs here. Not really something that resembles a strong trend. I think we can come back and retest some structure around 1.82. So I do think a bit of a move to the downside is still in the cards for pound CAD. Other pound pairs, I think that's more or less about it. Pound CHF, I'm not really looking to do much with either. At the moment, again, nice strong close to the downside on the weekly chart, but as we approach this area, I wouldn't be surprised if we push right back up again. You know, I kind of do expect pound CHF to do something similar to what we did over here, which is very, very corrective and a big pullback. I kind of expect similar behavior. Maybe not as prolonged. That lasted almost a year. We might not see that last as long, but we are still seeing a lot of aggressive momentum with the bears here. So I kind of do expect us to eventually spill over and see another aggressive move. But I don't think it's just going to be a textbook, push, pullback, push. I think we are going to dance for a little while before the shorts do actually look somewhat decent. But as I said, as we do approach that support level, I do think buyers are going to step into the market and push price higher. So I still do have somewhat of a bullish bias here for pound CHF. I think we can rally back into highs. Again, that's the key thing with the CHF pairs, because I have been very bullish on the CHF pairs, but they just haven't quite set up. And of course, with the news this morning, the bearish reaction we had to it, and the bullish reaction we had to it, and CHF being very strong, has kind of skewed things a little bit. But from a technical standpoint, pound CHF still looks like a good buy to me. Euro CHF still looks like a good buy. I mean, I wouldn't say it's quite ready yet. We're still consolidating, but I think this is still looking like a good buy. And again, the main reason why it's looking like a good buy is higher time frames. You can see Euro CHF. This is our prior major low that price formed before a big pullback. We've been trying to break through this, and on 4 separate occasions we failed. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I do think price is forming a massive low here and can reverse. So I do think Euro CHF, there's a lot more upside to be had. So I've been waiting for a breakout for quite a while now, but just haven't found it. Hopefully that can come pretty soon, but same situation as pound CHF. I think there's a breakout to be had there for Euro. Aussie Oh, that was a horrendous stutter there. Aussie CHF, there we go. Again, long term, still looking for a buy. We've just come from all-time lows. For Aussie Swiss, we broke through the previous all-time low, which was this wick here. I think that was COVID, wasn't it? Yeah, COVID. So we took out COVID lows, created new all-time lows. I do think the bigger move is a pullback. I don't see price continue to sell, especially when you're at all-time lows, because you have to ask yourself who's still selling at these lows. Of course, intraday traders still looking to pluck, a few pips here and there. But in terms of the bigger sellers, anyone really with a lot of, selling pressure, buying pressure, power, anyone with meaningful size positions here for Aussie CHF driving price lower, they would be looking to take profit at the all-time lows. Who's still selling at these lows here? I'm not saying everyone will close positions, because you would expect the price to react by now. But you expect a lot of positions to be closed, and naturally that should see the market relieve a little bit. And of course, you have seen that. It's not like the market is still bullish. We have seen a push up, but I would expect a much bigger one. So for that reason, I'm still kind of longer term bullish on Aussie CHF, but again, have to be careful. At the moment, we've got a clear bearish structure at play. This isn't something you want to be looking to buy just yet. So as I said at the start of the week, if I can see price recover this move, so push back into resistance, back into highs, and give us somewhat of like a V-shaped pattern, well, that would be a bullish signal for me, because that sell-off there can view it almost as a fake out, give the V-shaped pattern, look for some type of correction, and then I expect a continuation back into highs. So that's really what I'm waiting for on Aussie CHF if I was to get a buy. Other CHF pairs, New Zealand CHF, I'm not as interested in as Aussie, but it's another pair coming from all-time lows. These were previous all-time lows. You can see price smash straight through that. We are consolidating now, looking a bit flat. But I do expect us to break high and see a lot more upside pretty soon as well. You've got some major targets like these to choose from as well. And then CAD CHF, another one coming from all-time lows. Market's quite stretched to the downside. This has been consolidating for a while. But again, if we can commit to the upside, I feel like a break and retest, keeping it relatively simple, could provide some nice buys, a push back into this area, and a push back into that area there as well. So yeah, very bullish here on CAD Swiss. I think there's a lot more upside to be had. Another pair coming from all-time lows. So despite the bullish CHF we had this morning, and of course all those moves to the downside, I will still be looking for buys. I wouldn't say there's a setup yet to take, which is why I'm kind of just on the sidelines right now. But a lot of the CHF pairs are consolidating anyway, so I'm still waiting for breakouts. CAD CHF is one of them. So despite the bearish candle this morning, in the grand scheme of things, it hasn't really mean anything, in that range. And that's one key tip to focus on as well, is don't let price action within a range distract from the range itself and get too caught up in candlesticks, because until price has really confirmed and broken through a range, whether high or low, you don't really want to be concerned with the candlesticks within the middle of the range, because they just represent fluctuation. A candle like this doesn't really mean much to me. It doesn't really indicate direction. It doesn't really indicate momentum either, because even if we do push down strong, we've got support to play with, and unless the price is going to break out the range, which is the key thing we're interested in, we're likely to bounce and push back up again. So unless I'm trying to buy the low of the range or sell the high, or wait for the breakouts, it's the only thing you really should be interested with ranging markets. Anything in the middle is just kind of no man's land, really. And getting kind of sold into this bullish move here, you can see a very strong bullish candle. You can see in hindsight what happened. We kind of just lost momentum, failed at highs, came back down. Very aggressive candles, but just back into support, price reversed. Very aggressive candle there, back into support, price reversed. So you don't want to get too caught up on candlesticks inside a range. They don't really have much meaning. The best you'll get is that maybe they mean a push back into the low or push back into the high. But again, you probably don't want to be looking to find entries or setups in the middle in the first place. So always waiting for a price to clear the high. or clear the low, and then look for opportunities there, and then gauge momentum and gauge candlesticks, because then they actually do become useful. Same with USCHF, a lot of big candles in this range, but again, a lot of them have really meant nada. Big candle here driving lower, price just wicked at the low, reverse straight away. So not a lot of opportunity there. I would always be careful ranging markets, because they do tend to sell people the wrong idea, because people are very quick to follow momentum. If the market's bleeding, you're looking to sell it. If the market's flying, you're looking to buy it. But if we're just coming back into support, coming back into resistance, essentially looking to sell into support or buy into resistance, which is a major contradiction. Some of the CAD pairs, we'll focus on the pound pairs closer to the end of the stream, because of course that's when the rates come out. But in terms of the CAD pairs, I haven't really spoken too much upon them. I was actually looking to buy Aussie CAD at the start of the week, but didn't really find a good entry. We did see a nice kind of reaction. So a nice kind of pop to the upside, but it was a very corrective one. Haven't really seen momentum really push through. So I didn't find an entry, so I stayed away. Haven't really seen much impulsive behavior. I mean, for the most part, we are still very consistent with these lower highs here. And I wonder, is price just still going to continue to be bearish? I drag this to the low. More or less kind of continuing those lower lows and low highs. So I'm not really seeing much here with Aussie CAD. I was trying to buy the low here. Didn't really give me an entry. Did push up, but we're respecting highs. So it looks like we might come in straight back down again. Again, the main reason why I was looking to buy the lows, because we came back into a very significant low to our left here on Aussie CAD. A very significant low, big push to the upside from that area. Of course, we had a massive push through the zone, but since then we did recover. And I was essentially looking for price to come back, use that support level again, and potentially rally back into resistance and back into the highs there as well. So that was the plan there for Aussie CAD, but because I didn't really get an entry that fit the plan, I didn't get an entry. I stayed out the market, but it looks like we haven't really seen the momentum I was after anyway. I feel like if price can break through the trend line there, then we'll see the push back into those levels, but at this moment in time, not really happening. So Aussie CAD, I'm still bullish, but nothing quite there to report on. New Zealand CAD still ranging. I feel like this one is likely to break to the low of the range, likely break to the downside. I've been quite bullish for New Zealand CAD, looking for it to break higher, but haven't really seen that momentum come in. Then we had a very strong bearish candle close last week, which closes a nice shooting star pattern. You can see all the wicks were firing to the upside, and again this week as well, another big wick to the upside, big spike there. Price couldn't sustain the highs, pushed back down. I know we've still got a day and 11 hours left, but it looks like resistance is doing a good job. So I do feel like New Zealand CAD is likely to kind of break to the downside here and push back to lows. So I'm not as confident with the buys as I was probably last month when we had that first initial move and then some pullbacks there. Since we've been so sideways, kind of waiting to see if we can break through support. And if we do, I feel like there'll be some very, very nice shorting opportunities below the level and opportunity to take New Zealand CAD back into lows, and maybe not so much these lows. We're a bit far from that, but I feel like we can probably roll over. So New Zealand CAD, I feel like we're slowly pushing down. And of course, Aussie CAD does break through that daily level as well. I feel like Aussie CAD is going to join the party and sell off too. We do have a lot of room to fall. Pound CAD and Euro CAD, I'm bearish on these as well. So it looks like the CAD pairs are kind of in sync in terms of that bias between Pound CAD, Euro CAD, New Zealand CAD, Aussie CAD. I do feel like they all are likely to push lower if they can break through support. I wouldn't bet on any shorts just yet, but if we do see a break of their support levels, I feel like New Zealand CAD, Aussie CAD is likely to drop. Pound CAD already have a bias, a bearish bias for quite a while now. Price has been fading these highs, and that's kind of where the bias has sparked life from. So I'm looking to see if we can push back into major support. Prior resistance back here, where we turn support at 1.82. The only trick with pound CAD is that I haven't really found a nice place for an entry. I know we've had a break of this level here. Potentially might find a retest there for some more downside. You've got a low over here as well. Might find a retest there as well, but it's just been such a corrective move down. If this momentum was if this had more impulsive momentum, if this was a stronger push down, I might be a bit more inclined to find a retest there for a short. But because it's a very corrective move, it doesn't give me a lot of confidence to short. When I'm seeing corrective moves like this, I naturally have the expectation of a push back up. And not necessarily push back up where I want to sell it. So yeah, I'm not seeing a good entry here for pound CAD. I still have a bearish bias, but just not seeing a good trade really. Major highs up here. Maybe a test of that might be a nice trade, but that's the best I can find right now with pound CAD. And euro CAD still very, very flat. We had a nice reaction at the range. Didn't give us too much of a move. I did say coming into the week that buys do look good at this zone. It's kind of a similar setup to silver in terms of long consolidation, big breakout. We peak at silver very quickly. You can see the long consolidation, big breakout, and the retest. So very similar setup to silver. We had a nice reaction at that zone, but I did say watch out. Watch out for this area, and I did say watch out for this area. I wouldn't try and take the trade past that, because although yes, EuroCAD is overall a bullish pair, we are very, very flat, and it looks to me that resistance on our left here from this high is actually providing a lot of resistance, and the market is struggling at that area. So I did say I'm not quite confident that EuroCAD does make it back to highs here. So if I was long, I would want to try and secure gains at this level. And if we get there, try and secure gains at that level as well. But yeah, I wouldn't do anything now. Even if price was to revisit this support level, I wouldn't try and find some entries to buy it. The market is very, very flat. The sharp rejections there as well doesn't give me a lot of confidence to follow that move. So EuroCAD, the way I see it, just kind of a ranging market. We are pretty consistent with the higher lows here. So there's that, but I wouldn't look to follow it, to be honest. I think what would be nice if we can see a solid break of that, and that might open up the floodgates to the downside. But in my opinion, EuroCAD very flat. I do have a longer term bearish bias, but we're not really seeing signs to trade that yet. So yeah, EuroCAD, Pound CAD, Aussie CAD, New Zealand CAD, I do feel like they'll break lower eventually, but might be waiting a few days before some solid entries there, because at the moment they're all kind of still slightly bullish. What's up, Pavinator? Welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. Where was I? Happy Thursday, right back at you. Aussie dollar, yeah, slight downturn. Yeah, I'm on the same boat. I'm hoping to see if we can see a push back to 0.62. 0.62, 0.625 is kind of where I'm looking to buy it from. But yeah, a long way to go, pretty much the same page there. We had some weakness with Aussie, USD's been a little bit strong as well. So it looks like we could be getting that move, but yeah, I mean, the plan for Aussie dollar since this recovery there has been looking to buy it. I've whipped out a nice Fibonacci from the low to the high. This 50% area is kind of where I'm looking at, lines up pretty well with this low, which again, roughly that 0.62, 625 area is where I'm looking for the buy, kind of anywhere in that region really. But yeah, I mean, judging how corrected price has been for Aussie dollar on the way up, this is not healthy, sustainable price action. So I've been pretty bearish on Aussie dollar for a while, looking for price to push lower. I did say this is kind of where I wanted to take some shorts from, right at the up end of the channel, because that's where I'll be away from all the noise, all the kind of fluctuations. There'll be a lot of stop losses here, so I kind of want to get my stop loss even higher than that. Of course, we had a bit of a bearish Aussie and a bit of a bullish USD in the past 24 hours. Hence, you've had a bit of a push down. But we are still coming back into the low of the channel, and I wouldn't be totally surprised if we do respect the low of the channel and push right back up again. We could very much see price go and do that. So I will be very, very cautious of that happening. So yeah, hopefully we can see a push back down. I mean, price is taking its sweet time, because I remember we've been talking about this since May. So the market's been taking its sweet time and not really developing well. But that's the thing. It's going to take its time, and then all of a sudden, 2 days happen, and the market's looking, very, very bearish, and you're like, wow, that's a huge move. And yeah, you probably would expect to see that happen at some point. A corrective move like this tends to give you a very sharp breakout. Whether it's going to happen now or tomorrow or next week or even the week after, I have no idea. But I do expect to see a pretty aggressive move to the downside there for Aussie. There might be some shorts on the way down, but yeah, definitely going to keep a close eye on the buys, because I feel that's where the bigger move is going to come from. So yeah, have to stay patient there. Yeah, of course, definitely being stubborn. Yeah, hopefully. Yeah, I mean, they're taking their sweet time as well. But I mean, NZUSD, similar situation. That's picked up speed though, but I mean, hasn't really done anything crazy, but it's at least seen a break to the downside. They've both been in similar channels. I think that's also something to keep an eye on, because New Zealand dollar, which is a very, very closely related to Aussie dollar, and 8 times out of 10, they're doing the same thing. So the fact that New Zealand dollar is seeing a break to the downside is looking pretty bearish right now. And I would expect New Zealand dollar, possibly to get back to a low down here. Tells me that Aussie dollar is just kind of lagging behind a little bit, and we're likely going to do the same thing. So Aussie dollar shorts, I think, will come through in terms of breaking the channel. I think there's a very likelihood we see that happen. It's just about timing, because it could happen today, it could happen tomorrow, it could happen next week still. So don't want to jump the gun. But now that we've seen NZUSD break the low well, I feel like this is going to start to pick up momentum and see a nice move. Retest of a low there, I think that's a smart place for an entry. And yeah, push to those lows looks likely. So Aussie dollar, I think we are due roughly the same move. Just it's taking its sweet time. Always behind the Kiwis, both in time zone and price moves. Funny. Do you get in rugby? I don't really keep up to date with rugby, but I know Aussie and NZD are quite big. Aussie and NZD, Australia and New Zealand are quite big on their rugby. Although I didn't know Australia was better than NZD at rugby, because whenever I hear rugby, I'm always hearing New Zealand are normally doing very well. Don't hear too much about Australia. I mean, I know they're big on it as well, but I've always imagined New Zealand is a bit more popular with rugby. What's up, Casper? Welcome to the stream. Hope you're doing good. Yes, I am well. Thank you for asking. Yeah, I bet the rivalry is massive. I bet it is. I bet it's probably like England versus Scotland or something like that, or England France. So yeah, I can definitely imagine the rivalry being huge. Oh, and the are bigger. What's the population of New Zealand? I feel like it's not that big. I feel like it might be similar to the UK, or is it a lot less? Because I know New Zealand isn't huge. Oh, it's only 5 million. I thought it was at least like 20 or 30. So a tiny population like that. What's Australia's population? Yeah, I thought it was a lot more than that. Okay, Australia 26. I thought Australia was like 60. I think because I just think Australia is such a huge place. I just naturally think that the population will be bigger. But yeah, I mean, Australia's population is pretty much 5 times New Zealand. So they're definitely up against it, but I guess they hold their own. Esther, hello. So I do have a free academy you can check out with Elevating Traders. If you search elevatingtraders.com, there's a free academy which kind of has a nice introduction to trading, kind of goes through a crash course through the basics, and also gives you kind of the tools to develop a strategy in terms of technical analysis and risk management, and developing your own trading plan as well. So if you're looking for somewhere to start in terms of complete beginner, where do I go from here? Check out the academy. Like I said, it's free to join. Just check out Elevating Traders and head over to the academy. Yeah, small island. Yeah. I thought you would have a bit more than 20 something million, to be honest. Okay. Lots of New Zealand coming to Aussie for work. Yeah, I could imagine. I met with a couple people from New Zealand in London as well, actually. But yeah, I can imagine there's a big rival between the two. But yeah, going into, well, we got the pound news coming up, don't we? Is anyone trading any pound pairs at the moment? Let's get a little split screen going. Oh, what is that? Oh, that's pound yen. It's already moving like the news has already happened. Let's go to the 5-minute chart for extra drama. So yeah, pound yen already looking very bullish. I think the yen is quite weak at the moment as well. So pound might be a bit strong, but yen's definitely having its way. But yeah, we do have the pound news coming up very, very shortly. So if you are trading any pound pairs, do watch out for that. I mean, I'm not expecting a huge move, but still, if you're definitely on the low time frames, maybe something to consider managing the position. No problem. I was interested to find out, Pavanator. I was interested to find out. Expat for Aussies is massive. Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah, I've met a few people from Australia, a few people from New Zealand as well, in London. 1-minute chart, place buy stop, sell stop for Supermax chart. Yeah, I'm not quite on that wave, Casper. But that definitely is for maximum drama, though. That is definitely how you maximize the drama. Yeah, GBP news is coming out shortly, about a minute from now. So yeah, I mean, I'm not in any pound pairs at the moment, so the news isn't necessarily impacting me, but I do have quite a few pound pairs which I'm looking to trade. Pound USD shorts, pound NZD shorts, although I want price to go a lot higher first, so that's not really something I'm looking to trade now. Same thing with pound Aussie as well. Pound yen, I'm kind of getting ready for a breakout to the upside for some longs there as well. Again, those setups at least need a couple of days to form, so the news will be well and truly over by then. As of now, I'm kind of just keen to see how pound reacts really. Rates are expected to stay the same, so if they are going to stay the same, I wouldn't expect too much noise here with pound, to be honest. But we'll see. I mean, we had the interest rates for the Swiss earlier this morning. Rates were expected to cut. Rates did cut. Swiss was strong, so it's not always black and white. Okay, so it is now 12. The news is out. Okay, yeah, it's come out 4.25, so rates stay the same. So yeah, I wouldn't expect too much noise. Of course, you're going to get the fluctuation. This is the 5-minute chart, so we're ready. We're zoomed into the drama. If you expand to like an hourly or a 4-hour chart, not much movement has happened really. But let me not jinx myself because you might turn into a big move. But yeah, the initial reaction is bearish here. It looks like pound is pushing down pretty strong. Again, I always would wait for the hourly candle to close after the news because that kind of allows an hour's worth of price to settle, and you can kind of read the news a little bit better to see how prices reacted. Because we're bearish right now, come back in half an hour's time, we could have left a big wick and flipped bullish. So you don't want to get too caught into the initial momentum because that's sometimes, sometimes the wrong way. Price can easily flip the other direction. So I'll leave it till kind of like 1 p.m. UK time or an hour from now, wherever you are in the world, and then kind of look at pound pairs and see what the impact has had. Of course, the rates have come out the same, so all in all, I don't expect to see too much drama. Of course, we had that initial bearish reaction. If I go take a look at some other pound pairs, pound CHF, yeah, strong push down, pound NZD, strong push down. I mean, again, strong push down in kind of, not taking too literally, because if I go to the 4-hour chart, which is the chart I focus on, and we go look at some of these pound pairs, you barely budged. You probably don't even know there was a news event, to be honest. So, again, not necessarily expecting anything crazy anyway. So, not like we're expecting price to be doing anything too crazy. But yeah, initial bearish reaction across the board. But still, I would wait for the hourly candle to close to really adjust to see what the news has brought us, because we could still flip bullish. Elliot, it's pound interest rates. If you check out FX Street or My FX Book, Economic Calendar, or Forex Factory, any of those kind of news calendars, they kind of have it all in detail. I've actually never really used TradingView for news, to be fair. I mean, I'm sure it's fine, but if the Bank of England interest rates there not there, then that is a bit strange. But yeah, head to one of those pages that will give you all the news in detail. But yeah, we had the Bank of England come out just now, so pound has reacted to that. But like I said, nothing too crazy. A push down there. It looks like a relatively normal candle. I'll still wait for the hourly candle to close just in case we might pick up momentum, but rates come out the same, so not too much drama there at all. Pound Aussie, yeah, a bit of a wick to the upside, but not much at all. But yeah, I mean, my focus now for the rest of the week kind of a bit shifted towards the dollar now. Seeing if we can get that follow through, and then hopefully some shorts of pound USD. I'll probably say that's one of my favorite opportunities alongside gold and silver, because I feel like gold is one candle away from a good entry. Not really seeing the momentum right now. I mean, this 4-hour candle still has 2 hours left, so we could still see a strong close pretty soon. So I'm not going to rule that out. But hey, if it closes now or it closes at the end of the day or tomorrow morning, doesn't really make a difference. I'm just waiting for a good entry for a trade. Very, very corrective on the way down here. Just waiting for momentum to shift for some longs. And silver as well, at a very nice place for a buy too. Just, again, waiting for momentum to shift and find some nice entries. I'd say those are the two immediate immediate pairs to keep an eye on, because I feel like buys are coming pretty soon. Other pairs need a lot of work, at least for what I'm looking for anyway. But silver and gold, hopefully might even find 2 entries for both of them at the end of the week. I won't take both, but yeah, I'll pick the better one, but keep an eye on those pairs. But yeah, guys, we have come to the end of the stream. I will be live again tomorrow, as always. I don't think we've got any big news tomorrow, unless I'm mistaken. We've got retail sales for CAD, retail sales for pound. Yeah, nothing too crazy. Not like an interest rate anyway. So hopefully not too much drama tomorrow and just relatively normal trading. But yeah, guys, appreciate you tuning in for another stream. I will be live again tomorrow, as always, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. UK time. So same time as always. If you're free, pop in, come say hi, come and have a chat with us. But yeah, guys, really appreciate you tuning in. Drop a like before you do leave. It does really help out the channel, helps get the content out there. So I do really appreciate that. Drop a like, drop a subscribe, hit the subscribe button. I already said drop a like, but if you could do too, that would be nice. But yeah, subscribe to the channel as well, and of course hit the bell so you don't miss out on any streams or uploads in the future. But guys, really appreciate you tuning in. Check out the Discord channel for Elevating Traders, located in the description below. If you want to join the community, chat with other traders, chat with myself, you can find all of that and more there. So check it out if you are interested. But yeah, guys, thank you for tuning in. Have a great one, and I will catch you all tomorrow.